All right, people, we're back with another excerpt from The Blue and the Brit. That is the podcast that I do with my buddy Ryan. Today's excerpt is from episode 10 of our podcast. We were talking about grinding, making builds, and the satisfaction we get out of grinding and making those builds. The topic originally came about because I was playing a lot of the Division 2, and there are some satisfaction problems within the game. It can become very tedious and monotonous trying to make a perfect build that makes you feel really good about your character progression, but also in Destiny 2 at the start of Season of Opulence, and at the start of every season in Destiny, they release new pinnacle weapons, and they require a lot of grinding that you can either space out over the course of the next 3 to 4 months, or if you're like me, grind for it over the course of a few days. And if you do all that grinding and you get a reward that doesn't feel worth it, that doesn't feel good. But lucky for me, the pinnacle weapons that I was grinding for over the last couple of days have been worth it, and I feel really good about all the work that I put in, especially because one of the weapons, the Hush Pinnacle Bow, I had to play a game mode that I didn't like. And it would have been really horrible if I got the weapon and then I hated it, because that would have meant I spent 8 to 12 hours, maybe even a little bit more, in a game mode that I hate, only to get a reward that I don't feel good about. It would have driven me insane. But with all of that said, I'm going to let the excerpt play out from the podcast, and you can enjoy the conversation. If you'd like to listen to the full episode, you can head over to soundcloud.com/iBluairJgR to listen for free.
If something's been worth my while, I'll know it feels right. Like, even if it isn't optimal, I can still feel somewhat satisfied in my work. Like even if it's a fickle cosmetic goal, like even though people will deride you and say like for example, going for a decent Sunbreaker build, or like, you know the class is trash, but you still kind of want to see how badly you can push it, because it's fun and it looks crude and stupid, but you still love it in a way. But I've far too often I've experienced dissatisfaction with that, and the payout just not feeling worth it. And I feel like it needs to sort of be exposed at large, and I'm not saying nerf it, because then it could potentially devalue other things, but at least make the reward more quantifiable. I put this time in, make me feel like I've been satisfied. Let me feel some satisfaction for my work.
Yeah, that's hands down the toughest challenge that every MMO, every RPG has to go through. Because you're totally right about wanting your character to feel like Neo at the end of The Matrix, or John Wick, or whatever. Once you've spent 200, 300 hours grinding, or even 100 hours, you want to feel like, oh yeah, I'm becoming a badass right now, and if I keep at this, I'm going to be even more badass. You want to have that satisfaction, either from statistics, and ideally it'll be from stats and from appearance. You'll have that twofold nature of your reward makes you fight harder and look cooler. And so many games fail at that, or at least slightly miss the mark when trying to get that investment perfectly synced up in some capacity. Because Destiny has failed at doing that, especially in their raids, where every raid after the initial Callus raid that launched with Destiny 2 has had an exotic that isn't guaranteeable as a drop, and it's super disappointing, because you can complete the raid hundreds of times every single week and not get the exotic weapon that's associated with that raid, and it gets to the point where it feels like you're wasting your time. And then in the Division, you can grind for a really long time to get this one specific pair of knee pads for this very specific build that you want, and you can't get them. And then if that's the only thing you care about in the game, you feel like you've wasted your time. And the solution for them in the Division is to maybe make a more robust crafting system, because their crafting system right now is hot garbage. But, it's hard to make the perfect game. It's really tough.
Yeah, it is. But, some people have done it pretty well. Like, hello, Diablo. Good to see you again.
Well, I mean, let's not forget they launched as one of the worst games ever, didn't they?
I mean, shh, no one needs to know about that.
Right? It took them a while to get good. When Diablo 3 launched, it was a catastrophe.
Oh, yeah. But
And,
no,
yeah.
they're doing good now.
They are.
Yeah, like they added a necromancer, which is always good. Which always is bonus points in my book. You know, I love necros. You know, God, that makes me sound really weird. I love being a necrophile. You know, no,
Right.
it's not good.
It's tricky.
But
It's tricky,
yeah.
but I mean, you know, the funny thing is, even though we have all these things to complain about for these different games, is that we still love them and we still play them, and the frustration is almost part of the package, because it's impossible to have any kind of hobby and enjoy it 100% of the time every time, because even if you just like going to the park as your hobby or whatever, or if you like racing remote control cars or something, there's always going to be that day that's going to piss you off a little bit. There's always going to be that thing that gets under your skin. And in the context of gaming, one of the things that can make the hobby a little bit annoying is when the incentivization isn't done correctly in a particular game. And there we go. That's going to do it for the excerpt. Ryan and I don't have a set schedule for when these come out yet, but there is another one coming out this week, so stay tuned for that. Remember, you can listen to the full episodes on soundcloud.com/iBluairJgR for free. As always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.